everybody. To continue the 20th celebration of Sprucehill, or 20th year celebration of Sprucehill, I should say, I thought, what would be more interesting, or what could be more interesting than maybe 5 things nobody talks about but should when it comes to new builds. And we're also going to talk about 5 things every modern build needs, as well as 5 of what I think to be absolute deal breakers. So without further ado, let's dive in. Things that nobody thinks about but should. Gravel. There is no such thing as too much gravel on the sides of your home. And what I mean is, like, between your foundation and the earth. That gravel is going to provide a fantastic highway for water to go anywhere other than inside your home. So definitely, you do not want to cheap out on the gravel, in my humble opinion. I would also suggest having approximately 4 inches of gravel underneath your footings before you start pouring concrete, so that you create a place for water to very freely and very easily flow, because water is our enemy, especially here in Vancouver. Now, number 2 is HVAC. It turns out that air conditioning and heating are frequently seasonal. And what that kind of sort of means is, during the summer, you want the cooling to really be mostly doing its work on the upper floor or floors of your home, because cool air falls. Conversely, during the heating months, you want most of your heating to be directed towards the lower floor or floors of your house, because again, hot air rises. So it turns out that most heating systems and cooling systems require some form of seasonal adjustment. So making sure you have your home designed so that it is easier for you to adjust that seasonally is a smart something to do. The other thing that you might want to consider when it comes to HVAC is whether or not you use an HRV or an ERV, right? There's an energy recovery ventilator, and then there's a heat recovery ventilator. HRVs do a very good job of swapping the air out in your home, but they also do a great job of removing humidity. So if you live someplace where you lose a lot of humidity during the year, could be summertime, could be wintertime, it's usually wintertime, you are gonna probably want to lean towards an ERV, because an HRV is gonna suck all of the humidity out of your home, and humidity is critical for your own personal comfort inside the home, but B, to also protect your finishes. If you lose too much humidity in your home, your flooring starts to fill, your cabinets start to pull apart, and bad things happen. So we do want to see that inside humidity not drop below 35%. I think personally the sweet spot's around 45%. That's just me. Vapor profiles. We've talked about it on the Ground Truth channel, and here we are in the Sprucehill Homes channel talking about a similar thing. I strongly discourage you from putting Tyvek on the outside of your house and then putting poly on the inside of your house. Doing so is going to create a moisture sandwich, and it is likely going to rot your studs in 5 or so years. What we typically do is try to get our air tightness through the sheathing, the plywood of the home, and then we get our vapor tightness through a vapor barrier paint. It's a much cleaner, easier way to do things, and you eliminate that sandwich effect of locking moisture inside of the wall assembly. So Erik suggests do not use Tyvek on the outside and poly on the inside. Erik doesn't suggest using poly on the inside pretty much ever. I think it's a dumb idea, but that's my opinion, and I'd love to hear what you think in the comments. Okay, let's talk about air tightness versus breathability. People fear that tight homes can't breathe. And that's a fair fear. But the whole idea, and that's why we are putting in these ERVs and HRVs, ERVs or HRVs, you're not going to put in both, because now you can control the rate of which you're bringing fresh air into the house, And you can make sure that you are cleaning the air on a more thorough basis, right? Like if you are just opening windows and, if it's smoky or smoggy outside, you're letting in all of that nasty stuff that's in the air into your house. If it comes through your HRV or ERV, it's going to get filtered as it goes through the furnace filter or the HRV filter, and you're going to make sure that your air continues to stay clean. So I would say don't worry about your home being airtight and not breathable, because as long as you have your mechanical appliance up and running, you're good to go. But the caveat there is you do need to make sure that that mechanical appliance is up and running. Then we have embodied carbon. So, we can use CLTs or cross-laminated timbers or low carbon concrete. It's a way that we can reduce how much carbon we are putting out into the environment or how much we are pulling back in from the environment, so that we are offsetting our carbon footprints. Again, that's just another something that you can think about is, where is that embodied carbon and where can you pull it from, so that you're using materials that are going to embody the most carbon possible. Going on to 5 things every modern build needs. And this one is going to be a little controversial. Induction over gas. Gas ranges are the new smoking in the house, so it turns out. 60% of people do not realize gas stoves actually reduce indoor air quality the second you turn those suckers on. They start spewing stuff into the air. Even when you get the exhaust fan on, it's still not awesome. Induction is clean and it's also fast. I mean, I'm probably like a lot of you out there, not quite used to induction yet. I mean, they do require a massive amount of electricity to work, but they are cleaner and they keep the air inside of your home cleaner. And there is something to be said for that. I cannot emphasize this more, folks. This is like, if you don't get one thing from this video other than this is the one. Condition your attics and crawl spaces. Condition them, right? Make sure they are insulated and make sure they are conditioned. Any space that can be conditioned should be. Do not leave a roof area that's over an office or something like that unconditioned. If it can be conditioned, you should condition it. And I would definitely say you want to make sure you have your attic and crawl space conditioned. It is going to increase the comfort of your home and it is going to be far more energy efficient. Now, the next interesting thing that we don't see a lot of yet here in Canada, because our beloved government and CSA is so effing slow to approve things, but smart electrical panels. We are electrifying so much these days that, the current electrical code and the current approved appliances that we can use to load share and load balance are pretty limited. But there are smart electrical panels that will basically load balance your entire home. So it will figure out what or how much power to allow each circuit to take, up to a maximum of whatever the breaker's in there. There's some really, really cool electrical panels out there that will allow you to manage and load share the electrical loads in your house. So that is a very interesting something that I would strongly encourage everybody to look into. Moving on to rain screen systems, right? We want to make sure on, again, modern construction that we are leaving some form of air gap between the cladding and the building wrap, Tyvek in most cases, so that there's a place for water to trickle down, right? That is the only way that we can ensure that we have some sort of air and moisture movement so that things don't rot and water doesn't just sit in place. So, rain screen, whether you use Keen or pressure treated plywood straps, I mean, both work, but just remember that you need to have some form of rain screen behind your siding. Now, the last tip, and I've had some videos go fairly viral on TikTok and YouTube on this and Instagram on this topic, acoustic plumbing. We use cast iron for all of our vertical waste stacks, almost always. Because it dampens the sound of water going through it. There's Schedule 45, which is another great solution. And stay tuned for a future video where we're going to actually put all 3 solutions, ABS, Sched 45, and cast to the test and actually empirically measure how much quieter one is from the other. I'm actually really excited to see how that experiment goes and see if it turns out that I'm full of it or maybe I'm barking up the right tree. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited to share that with you all. That is 5 things every modern home build needs. Now, let's talk about the absolute deal breakers. The lowest bid. If somebody is 20% or more lower than somebody else, they are for sure missing from the scope of work, or they are for sure going to do a terrible job for you. So 20% is definitely, like, if you're getting a quote and it's 20% less than the next 2 or 3 people, you really have to wonder if that person has missed stuff and or if they're just going to do a horrifically awful job. But in my 20 years of experience, I would say it's going to be a horrifically awful job. So we don't even play that game anymore. The lowest bid goes straight to the bin. Not even interested in looking at it. Digital project management. If the builder that you're working with isn't providing you with some sort of dashboard or some sort of digital communication tool where you can automatically see what's going on with your project from a budget, selections, project plan sort of perspective, you're in for a world of hurt, right? It is so important to have some form of digital means by which we can predict when projects are going to be complete. And in my humble opinion, as a professional project manager, how can you possibly think about doing your job without having some sort of digital project plan in place, right? I mean, if a trade is sick and needs to push out by 5 days, well, how is that going to affect the next guy? How does that affect the critical path? And if you don't have that digitally and you're using Excel or Google Calendar or something ridiculous like that for your project management, I mean, that's not project management. That's basically like project management by Braille, right? You need to have some sort of digital tool. We use Smartsheet, but Microsoft Project is another viable option. I think Buildertrend also has a Gantt chart sort of functionality to it. Again, I've sunk a lot of time and money into Smartsheet, and so that's a platform that we use around here at Sprucehill. The next one is a single stage HVAC unit, or outdoor compressor, right? If it's not variable capacity and variable speed, it's just obsolete technology. The analogy that Gemini gave me to use is it's like buying a car and it only has off and 100 miles per hour as its speed options. So you definitely want to get the correct mechanical equipment. It is going to make a huge difference as to how well your home functions and how efficient it is or isn't. Do not cheap out on your windows and do not cheap out on your cabinets. These are things that or exterior doors, right? Like, these are things that you are going to interact with every day you live in that home. Do not cut budget and cut corners on your main kitchen and maybe your primary ensuite for the cabinets. Do not cut corners on your windows or doors. I mean, again, I understand everybody has to build within a budget, but if you are going to allocate resources, I strongly urge you to not cheap out. Do not buy cheap cabinets and do not buy cheap windows. That decision, or those decisions, if you do both, will haunt you for the rest of time. I guarantee it. If you have other ideas or thoughts of things that you think I've missed that should be in the top 5 of things that we should be thinking about when we're building new, I'd sure appreciate a comment in the bottom here and let me know what your thoughts are. In the meantime, I'm so excited to be the founder and CEO of Sprucehill Homes. It's 20 years in the making here. And somehow, some way, we're still managing to find a way to have fun every day. And I certainly enjoy producing this content for everybody at home there. So, hey, listen, thank you so very much for watching. Stay awesome, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye now.